Hello, everybody. This is Bob Kingpin, Eres, joined by my podcast partner over there, Brian Cano Sr. And Brian, how are you?
Doing
And
great.
this is D-backs Weekly Inside the Game, everybody. And we've got a lot to talk about today. Brian, take it away.
Yeah, man. Last time we talked, I think it was September the 12th. We were talking about the D-backs' chances of getting into the playoff mix with the wild card chase, and frankly, they were in New York at the time, and they laid a couple more eggs there. Lost a couple more games to the Mets, and they were, in my opinion, reeling and on their way home to play the Chicago Cubs in a really pivotal series, 3-game series, which started on the 15th on Roberto Clemente Day, coincidentally enough. I mean, what an awesome night that was. Hispanic Heritage Weekend at Chase Field, real festive. Roberto Clemente, a lot of recognition with that. And of course, the D-backs, they held their own. I thought that they played a solid game, won 6-4, but it took, in my opinion, it took Lourdes Gurriel jumping on the first pitch he saw that was in the location that he wished it was in, and following a 4-pitch walk to Christian Walker, Gurriel got him on the board quick, 3 runs, and it gave Brandon Fat, who won that game, a little cushion early, and I thought it was great. What did you think about the first game?
Oh, I agree with you that Fat pitched really well. It was good to see, and the Cubs are reeling right now. They had come in, and I believe that they were on a 2-game losing streak. Of course, the Diamondbacks helped them out by putting them on a 5-game losing streak now. But listen, it was a well-played game. They looked like they were ready. From what you told me, and I didn't even know this, that my neighbor, Dustin Pedroia, who, of course, is he was an MVP. He was a Rookie of the Year. He won how many world championships with Boston? 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And he actually, Torrey invited him in. Remember, Torrey used to be bench coach of the Red Sox, and Torrey invited him in Friday night to speak to the team, and told them how important the last 2 weeks are. And from what I believe you said, you guys got to stick together and go out there and just do it. And I don't know if what he said or what Torrey said, because before the game, Torrey said on Friday night is, guys, give me your best 14 days.
No,
Let's
hey,
do it right now.
let's do it now. Settle in and do it now. And I think what I heard through the grapevine, that was actually some reporting on MLB.com, was that Pedroia had been in and Torrey had invited him in to a little rah-rah speech, and they needed it, frankly. Because I mean, let's face it, with only a couple of veterans on the team, Longoria and Pham specifically, it's tough to really get a perspective of what these guys may be going through. And I think Pedroia has proved it, earned it, and it can illustrate that. And it was probably an eye-opening experience with some of the players like Jordan Lawler, rookie player coming in first year, seeing someone like Pedroia come in there and give that rah-rah speech, which he's heard probably hundreds of times. But this
Right.
time it should make a difference because they're playing Major League Baseball. This is a big deal, and they're in the playoff chase. And I was, kind of going back to the game a little bit. I was pleased to see Alec Thomas step up, and he's got a lot
Yep.
of pop in his bat, and he really delivered. And I'm a Alec Thomas fan. Let's face it. I mean, he plays a hell of a center field, and he's a little skeptical. I'm skeptical at the plate with him a little bit. I think there's some things
But
he
he's
needs to
been
do.
doing
But he's
better.
doing all right.
Yeah, he's been doing better at the plate. We know what he can do in the outfield. I
Oh
mean,
man,
there's no doubt that he's probably one of the best center fielders in the league, in baseball.
yeah.
But he's also seemed to have settled down a little bit at the plate. Almost like when he came back up, when they sent him down and he came back up, he had settled down. He seems to have settled down now, which is really good, because right now you're in a pennant race. I mean, you're there. You're the second place in the wild card spot after sweeping the Cubs. I
Yeah.
mean, just great stuff,
No,
and Torrey says it all the time. Torrey says it all the time in pregame, and he has for the last 2 weeks. He said, if you would have told me that in the beginning in March, that we would be sitting in the spot that we are sitting in right now, I take it. And you know what? Because this team was not expected this year, really, to be the team that they are. We were thinking that next year would be their year.
Yeah.
We talked about this last broadcast, Brian,
Yeah.
that they remind me and a lot of baseball people of the Orioles of last year. And
Yeah.
we all know what the Orioles of this year have done.
Yeah. No, it's solid analysis there. And again, I just want to point out that Brandon Pfaadt, who I've been pretty tough on this season, a little bit in our analysis, and especially mine, he delivered 5 1/3 quality innings, to get a second win. And I think that's important to point out as it relates to that specific game.
You
But
know what? You know what's amazing about this? And sorry to interrupt you. You know what's amazing about this? The last two games in New York, the Diamondbacks had their best pitchers going. They had Gowan and they had Kelly, and they get wiped out. They come back here with their bottom three, as I'll call it,
yeah,
right? The guys who we don't know what they're going to provide every time out that they're on the mound, right? We don't
right,
know. We're hoping that they do good, and here they are. They come in and they beat the Cubs.
yeah. No, it was again a solid baseball game. I think all the way around, and I was really pleased to see that. And frankly, I'm glad I saved a little energy because the following night, it took 13 innings and one of the longest games of the year, if not the longest MLB game of the year, for the D-backs to come out on top 7-6 with a walk off by with Gabby
Right.
Marino, hitting the ball where he's supposed to and just doing the little things well. And what an exciting game! I mean,
Right.
no one knew. Look at this guy. He got his D-backs cup going, all that good stuff, man. Cheers to the D-backs.
This was a giveaway a number of years ago. So I'm still using it.
Doggone right, man. Things durable. I love it. Anyway,
Yeah.
they that was a big game, with the D-backs winning that because with Longoria's slide, Bob, I'm going to tell you this much.
Oh my God.
The slide itself was phenomenal, but the thought process that went into it, there's not much time to think about. But what he said was that the catcher's momentum was going away from the plate, and he said, "Well, I might as well go inside." And how do you think about that while you're sliding toward? I mean, it's just an amazing slide. But
I don't know. And he said, I really wasn't thinking about it. Well, you know what? I don't agree with him. I think he was thinking about it
yeah,
because the slide was unreal.
yeah,
I've watched that play now probably 10 times.
yeah,
And for him to even move his hand away from that catcher who's coming across,
yeah,
it was incredible. And you know what? The umpire was right on it.
all over that, man.
He called him safe. He was right on it. The replay, they even went to replay, of course, because the Cubs challenged it, and there was nothing to challenge. It was safe. You know that it didn't take him very long to make that call.
No, no. One of the things as a former, as a youth coach at the 18U level, I always told my guys, don't slide at home. Head first. Do not slide head first at home.
Right.
Reason being because the catcher's got all the gear. However, in this instance, the catcher for the Cubs was clearly out of the baseline, clearly out in front of the plate, which gave Longoria plenty of space to slide in head first without getting tangled up too much. And when that catcher caught the ball and started to come over there towards the third base dugout, I think that's when Longoria made up his mind. I've got to go inside. And whether he thought about it or not, he mentioned it in the post game. But his hand went around to the outside and got into under the plate. And I said to myself, "Wow, that's just such a baseball savvy play where most players that haven't been maybe in that have been in that situation maybe slide in with their hands straight and they're out."
And let's talk about that game itself. That game, I call that one when I did my review in the next morning. I call that one a heavyweight fight because one guy was throwing, especially when it came to extra innings, and the Cubs had come back after the Diamondbacks took a lead. Then they get into extra innings, and the Cubs are scoring, the Diamondbacks are scoring. They're going head to head. They go 13 innings, and here the Diamondbacks finally they win it. They take it from the Cubs. That had to deflate the Cubs, because I bet You know what? I mean, I don't ever remember them, and I guess we could go back in time, their record against the Cubs. But this year, they only played the Cubs like what was the first time? Like about a week or 10 days ago
Yeah.
at Wrigley for the year. They wound up with a 6-1 record. I don't ever remember them doing that against the Cubs, and especially in Chicago. And you know what? I forgot what happened in that last game of that series in Chicago, but I think that they actually had the opportunity of winning that game and they blew it.
Yeah. No, the D-backs were in scoring because they were, I think, really close to sweeping that series, and it just wasn't meant to be, like you said. But at the same time, what a Bob, look, let's face it, 4 hours and 24 minutes that game took.
Yeah.
It's and the second longest game of the season this season has been Texas and Minnesota
Were
on
you
August
at that
27th.
game at all? Were you at that game,
Yeah, I was
starting that
there.
game?
I was there, and then I because of some other obligations, I had to leave. But I think I missed half the game because I left around the eighth inning, and it was still a tight ball game. But when I got home, I ended up getting to see a little bit more of that and got to see the end of the game at home. Frankly, it was an amazing win, though. I mean, just to be part of that, and I just couldn't. My dogs were barking and my eyes were closing, so I was able to catch the second end of the second game at home. But
Right,
what a game!
right,
And then of course, last night, Marte, the bullpen does well, and they not only do they beat the Cubs, but they pass the Cubs in the wild card race. They get up a half a game on them
right.
into the second spot. They won 6-2 yesterday. It was a sweep. You take the broom out, and it's hard to believe, like you said, how well they played against the Cubs this season compared to some of their past um, series.
Yeah.
But they did it, Bob. They surprised me.
I would have never thunk it. I'm sorry. After watching them play in New York
Yeah,
against the Mets,
yeah,
and I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going down. Forget about playoffs. Forget about this. And here they come home. They put on the beige uniforms, which I absolutely hate, the
yeah,
serpentinas, But I mean, I like the serpentinas. I just hate the color of the uniform.
yeah,
Okay, but they come home and they wear that uniform 3 games in a row, and they sweep the Cubs. Now my question will be this, and I forgot to mention in the beginning, Brian and I are both credentialed media members of the Arizona Diamondbacks, but I wonder now, since they've been on a little winning streak here at home, will they wear those serpentinas uniforms again come against the Giants?
Bob, the way I say it is serpientes. It's not an easy Spanish word. It's Spanish for
Right,
snakes,
right.
serpientes. But yeah, I think that they probably should wear them. What the heck? If it's not broken, why fix it? And again, we may not like the colors, but dang, they just took 3 out of 3 from the Cubbies. And
Yeah,
frankly, the Giants, and we can talk about that now. We can talk about that later. We can talk about the Giants series coming up, which starts on
yeah.
Tuesday.
Let's talk about that coming up, because the Giants just
They're
they haven't been playing well, and the Diamondbacks can't let up.
no, man. No, let's face it. The Rockies handled the Giants this past weekend. Let's say that they had a rain out on Thursday. On the 15th, they played and they lost 3-2. The Giants to the Colorado Rockies, last in the NL West, and then they lost a doubleheader on Saturday, which really took them out of, in my opinion, contention for the wild card. But then they came back on yesterday, beat the Rockies 11-10, which tells me one of two things: they either scored a lot of runs and didn't care who was pitching, or they had to keep in that ball game and use a lot of their relievers to stay in that game. And with that being said, they're coming into the Chase on Tuesday, tomorrow night, to
Yeah.
face the D-backs. The D-backs have everything to gain. And I'm looking forward to seeing the D-backs come out and play with some of that. Maybe that Pedroia uh,
I,
visit helped. I don't know, Bob. They haven't lost
I,
subsequent.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's just that, Tori's message has finally gotten through. Is like, give me the best 14 days, best 14 days.
Yeah.
Let's just go out and do it. And I don't know what it is, but they haven't been, I don't think, as good as they should have been at home this year. Now, what I was saying to myself, and I said it this morning when I did my recap, I said it was a home game, right? These last three were home games, but this was a pro Chicago Cubs crowd because we have so many Chicagoans here in the Valley that they outnumbered the Diamondbacks fans, and maybe the Diamondbacks thought they were on the road, and they play better on the road.
Wow, that's something I'll have to think about and maybe even have to write about. Who knows? Because I'll tell you what, the energy was, I felt it. I felt the Cubs fans. I could feel the D-backs fans, and I could feel the clashing of the two.
Yes.
But what a solid series in terms of fan engagement.
Yeah.
I think that with Hispanic Heritage Weekend, they had the Roberto Clemente night and had a number of festivities, a lot of honored a lot of guests, and really kept the crowd entertained with some cultural music, Latino, Hispanic music
Yeah.
going in the background. And with that, I mean, what a weekend for the D-backs, to come out and really set the tone for what's hopefully to come. And again, I think, look, let's face it, Bob, if we don't get it done on Tuesday and Wednesday with Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly going
Yeah.
against a team that's reeling, I don't know what else we can do. We've got the Giants right where the team wants them.
Right.
They're coming off the heels of a series loss to the lowly Colorado Rockies. No offense, Rockies fans, but it is what it is.
Right.
And we got our two best pitchers going back to back in a matinee game on Wednesday. So my feeling is, if they don't go 2-0, I'm not going to consider this series a success at all. Got to win them both.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I'd say, yeah, absolutely. You gotta win them both. You gotta put the Giants out of their misery. Keep them the heck out of the playoffs. That's what's so interesting about the playoffs, right? Anything can happen in a short series. The first series would be a short series, right? Isn't that like is it a 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5? Do
Last
we
I heard, it's it's 2 out of 3, best of 3.
Yeah, and
Best of 3.
that's very short. And Diamondbacks fans, don't be surprised because the Diamondbacks are a very tough team to play with their speed, with their defense. And now pitching. I hate to say it, but they lost a pitcher recently who wasn't doing very good. He's out for 10 days now, and that's McGuff.
Yeah.
And they really have some good guys. They brought in Jarvis back up last night. He pitched well, right? He finished out the last couple of innings. Saul Frank has been unhittable.
Yeah.
Thompson has been great.
Great addition.
Great addition.
Big, tall guy. Phenomenal. Look, it's almost like he's handing the ball to the catcher. Bob.
Right. And Castro, the last few outings, has gotten back to his old form. Yeah. So the bullpen right now, even though it's been used a lot lately, today is a welcome off day for these guys.
Oh, yeah.
And, it should be really good. Now, here, let's talk about, before we wrap this thing up today, let's talk about the remaining games.
Yeah.
The remaining here, they've got the two here at Chase, right?
Yep.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yep. Travel.
Then they go to
cross
New York.
country. Yep.
Yep. They go play the Yankees. Who the Yankees are, I don't care. They're always tough.
Yankees are the Yankees.
Even though they've had lousy year, for the Yankees. Then they come back. Well, then they go to Chicago to play the White Sox.
Yep. 3 straight games.
Who are not a very good team. But listen, you have to take every game serious. Yeah. You can't give it up. And then they come back here for a tough final series against the Houston Astros.
Who put this schedule together, man? Oh my goodness.
Where both teams have to win. Both teams. So if it goes down the way I'm hoping it goes, both teams are going to need the wins.
Well, Bob, I wouldn't be surprised to see ESPN make their way back to Phoenix on October 1st for Sunday night baseball.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's scheduled for 5:10 anyway. I think no, maybe it's probably an afternoon game on Sunday. They move it up
Yeah,
to
but
4 o'clock and make
it
it a
would
national televised.
it would normally be a 12:40 game on Sunday, or no, a 1:10 game on Sunday, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
they got it. They
Yeah,
got it
1:10.
for
It would be
110.
it would normally be a 1:10 game on Sunday, and then who knows? I mean, maybe it could be an ESPN game of the week. They probably just figure that stuff out like a week in advance.
Oh yeah,
But
who's hot? Who's not?
especially when it's coming down to playoff time, my God, that game could be huge.
A lot of things hanging in the balance in the AL and the NL. And
And
it
they
would,
might, yeah, and if they win that game, we might be on the field near the end of the game celebrating that they made it into the playoffs.
you know it, buddy.
So,
We'll both be out there. Well, I don't know if I'll be close enough to get wet by any champagne or any water or sunflower seeds like they threw on Longoria the other night. But I'll definitely be part of the festivities because they'll have earned it. They'll have earned that. And again, I'm kind of hoping that they go into that series with a 3.5 game cushion.
well, it would be nice if they go into it absolutely where they really don't have to worry about it. That yes, we're in the playoffs already.
Yeah, and we either get the 6 seed or the 5 seed, but or whatever it is seed, but
Whatever,
whatever it is, we are. Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever it is, we're not going to have home field advantage anyhow.
Yeah.
Right? I
No.
mean that we know.
No.
So we're not going to have that. So it doesn't really matter. Is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 6? I think if you get 6 though, you might be playing the Dodgers or somebody. You know.
Yeah. No.
You
Well, the
know.
way it is right now, the Braves would get us if it ended today. The Braves would be
The Braves, right?
Braves and the Dodgers would get us first round bye.
Right.
The 3 seed Milwaukee Brewers would face today would be the Cubbies because of the Cubbies would finish 6th in the wild card race. The D-backs would face the Phillies, who are number 4 right now, and the D-backs would be 5th in the play. They are right now currently in the wild card, so that puts them against Philadelphia, and then of course the rest is yet to be determined. I think the higher seed goes to the higher. I'm not sure how that works. Well, I'm not really accustomed to the MLB playoffs yet, but I'm going to be. I'm looking forward to learning more about them. But that's the way it all balances out as of today. The D-backs would be in the playoffs, and they'd be playing the Phillies, who frankly are a very difficult team to beat. I like the D-backs chances against the team like the Brewers, believe it or not. As crazy as that may sound, Brewers are a heck of a ball team, but the D-backs played them pretty tough this season. I thought, pretty well matched. The Phillies, I think they handed it to the D-backs pretty well.
Yeah, they did. They beat them up pretty good, but you know what? Like I said, in the playoffs, it's a whole different animal, and what I worry about this year with the Diamondbacks in the playoffs, I mean, if they can play their game, I think they'll do okay. But the thing is, they have a lot of young talent, and it's like, are they going to be able to live up to the moment, right? I mean, the thing is, they're young guys. How many of them have ever really been in playoffs? And none of them have been in major league playoffs. I mean, I guess if we went down that roster, I mean, there's only a few guys that probably have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Longorias. Well, Christian Walker in a playoff? Was he with the team in 17? That was Goldschmidt.
Yeah, I doubt there's very much experience. We may have to do the math on that. Just sit down and take a look at each one. I know Longoria's got tons of it comparatively.
He's got
of course.
Yeah, Longoria's got it with not only Tampa, where he started out, but of course with the Giants. Yeah, so that'll be my only concern. If Torrey can settle them down,
yeah,
and just say let's play our game.
Yeah. Well, I always felt like it's again. I don't. For me anyway, the way I see things, sometimes it's not the best team that wins the tournament. It's sometimes the hottest team. So you get hot. You get hot. and all of a sudden you're winning 3 or 4, 5, 6 games in a row. That's a series or two, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the NL Championship Series, going, "What the heck's going on?" And you just keep playing your game. And again, I can't stress the importance of that enough. Where you don't have to be the best team, you just have to be the hottest. And with that being said, I'm going to go back as far as saying that this spring, beginning of the season, I had a chance to spend some time with Coach Bannister, and we were talking near the dugout and during some warmups. And I said, "Coach, I said, I really enjoy the speed on this team. I said, it's really exciting to watch." And we talked a little bit about the possibilities of this young group of players, fulfilling, I won't say fulfilling anything, but there were many people that suggested that this team could be really solid, really good quickly. And, and that's what we saw at the beginning of the season. I think that's what I saw. Now, what I didn't factor in when I was talking to Coach Bannister were the variables that should be factored in by, and I think most experienced baseball people will tell you, it's a long season. There's injuries. There's these mental breakdowns almost, where you see it right in the player, where they appear to be not giving up, but just giving up on themselves a little bit when they have a strikeout. Something is, and baseball is a failure sport, but how do you respond to that failure? I think that's an area that I didn't know enough about to consider. And in all things considered, I think the D-backs have overachieved this season based on I think they have the talent, don't get me wrong, but I just think that the ups and downs of the season, that could do a lot to keep a team from not being very competitive. And the D-backs have remained competitive, and they illustrated that this weekend by sweeping the Cubs.
Yep, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good. We got how many games we got left now for the season? We've
11.
got 11.
Yeah,
Got
11 total.
11 total left. Wow, is that true? 11,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah,
11
games left. Can you believe it? But again, the bulk of the season's behind us, but the most important games of the year are still out in front. These 2 games with the Giants, obviously the Yankees series, the White Sox, then the last homestand against the Astros. The D-backs are not in the playoffs yet. There's no guarantee they're going to make the playoffs, but if they get through this stretch and they make the playoffs, they deserve to be there. They're no fluke. They earned it.
They're not a fluke, and we still have hopefully playoffs this year, but this is a team that's going to be good for future seasons as well. And we'll talk when the season's over of what we think the team needs, right? And I mean, I've already thought about that too, but I don't even want to get into that now. The team is what it is right now. They're not going to be making any more moves. God forbid somebody gets hurt, but
it's go time. It's go time. This is it. And Torrey's made it very clear to the guys. I don't want to be so bold, but I'm thinking he's saying, suck it up. I know you're tired. So is everybody else. Suck it up. Go do your job. And I love that about Torrey at this part of the season, because I think that's where his experience is going to factor in, and just being that guy. Hey, look, I'll be your coach, but I won't be your pal. And I think that's important at this time of the year, to be able to distinguish yourself as the person in charge. And I think that's starting to show a little bit toward the end of the season, thankfully. But we'll talk some more about a couple things, Bob. I want to talk about Mike Hazen, the general manager of the D-backs. His contract is extended only through next season. There's talks that that the Red Sox are interested. There's interest in Mike Hazen.
And I think he came from the Red Sox originally as well.
I'd like to know more about that, to find out if there's anything more to learn about that. And also something you didn't bring up, but I learned yesterday that Dre Jameson is going to be on the shelf till 2025, I think, with Tommy John surgery.
He is going to get the surgery then.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. When they shut him down, I figured he's going to have Tommy John, and that'll mean 2025. Yeah. I didn't hear that he was going to get it. I just figured when they shut him down that was it.
Yeah, I heard from a very reliable source yesterday. It was late in the day, almost like they wanted to, bury it a little bit. But I got the information and I validated it, and yeah, sure enough, the consensus is reportedly that he is going to have Tommy John and be on the shelf for the whole season next year. So anyway, we'll talk about that more next time we talk, which will be after the weekend series with the Yankees. We'll kick off the White Sox series on Monday. Is that good for you?
Yeah, we can do that, or we can or maybe after the Giants or whatever, even
Yeah,
the 2-game series, because they have the opportunity of putting the Giants the heck out of their
I
misery.
like that. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do a special program on either Thursday or Friday, the 21st
Yeah,
or the 22nd, to recap the Giant series to see where we stand going into the. And let's face it, this is the time of year to do that kind of reporting. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have you as a partner. I'm looking forward to it. We'll do that on Thursday or Friday. We'll put it out on our social platforms, let everybody know when and where. But it's definitely going to be this Thursday or Friday. D-backs Weekly Inside the Game, recapping the Giant series. Huge series coming up.
yep.
All right, Bob. Time to
You want
go.
me you want me to take you out of here?
Hey, get out of here, man. Let's do it.
Well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us for Diamondbacks D-backs Weekly Inside the Game with my partner Brian Cano Sr. This is Bob Eres. Stay safe, everybody.